Greetings everyone. So for tonight's video, I would like to do a little comparison, if you will, slash a little bit of an unboxing. This is my Ultrasabers Graflex, which I received this past holiday season, back in December. I would like to compare it with my Anakin FX Saber from Master Replicas. Now, I've mentioned before that I have it, and I've shown it in another video. I thought it might be fun to unbox it while we're at it. So, kind of a funny story about this lightsaber, actually. So this is the box that it comes in. It was purchased back in 2002, I suppose it was, 2002, 2003. So it was purchased, of course, while I was living with my parents when I was a teenager. About the time Attack of the Clones came out. This was the first of the FX lightsabers that were put into production. The Darth Vader one was one that would follow after, but I think at the time of this product there were only those two. So, which way should I do? I'm going to do it this way, just because the lid kind of covers it up a little bit. So, I have all the pieces here. And I have this lightsaber, but the reason that I don't really display it is partly because of its fragility. These FX sabers are a bit more fragile than a combat grade saber. And here's the lightsaber in its casing there. Oh, one more. And for whatever reason, I thought to keep all the packaging. Oh, I was going to tell you a funny story. Here it is. Just for the sake of unboxing, let's just look and see what all the different documents there were that came with it. Master Replicas, Anakin Skywalker's Replica Lightsaber Force FX collectible. Important safety guide. It gives you the instructions on how to use the saber, how to install the batteries and such like that. Here is a special invitation from Master Replicas. And this says, congratulations on your Master Replicas purchase. It's our mission to set the new standard in movie and television collectibles. And I think they did. Become a Master Replicas Collectors Society member. Benefits to belonging. A personalized Collector Society membership card. Annual Collector Society pin each year that you're a member. Access to low series number limited edition replicas, which by now I'm sure are probably quite valuable. Early access to web exclusive collectibles, advance email notice of new releases, so it's a little thing that has there. As well as the business reply mail card that comes with it. And then here's the catalog that came with it. Master Replicas product list, Star Wars ones at least. The Han Solo blaster, which was to be released in April. Okay. Han Solo blaster and a Luke lightsaber, Return of the Jedi lightsaber, was to be released in April 2nd of 2002, if it hadn't already yet been. Obi-Wan's first lightsaber and the Yoda lightsaber were to be released April 23rd of 2002, or 2002? I don't know. We say like 1902, so 2002? I don't know, maybe not. Count Dooku's lightsaber was to be due in June 2002. Anakin's FX edition was May 2002. That's when this went in at the end of that school year. Darth Vader's FX was to be fall 2002, and the display case was also April 2nd. So I think April 2nd was when they started actually releasing these, and I don't even know how I learned about it. Maybe it was from theforce.net, because theforce.net was around, I think, during that time, when I had learned about it during, like, Attack of the Clones. So, here's the, kind of the, well, there's a couple things. There's the Luke Return of the Jedi saber and the Han Solo blaster. And on the inside, you can see some of these other products that were available at the time. Dooku, Obi-Wan, Yoda. And of course the FX sabers. This would be A New Hope, I think. Vader. I don't remember if they made movie-specific editions of this, or if it was simply just one of them. I honestly don't remember. But that was at the early days of Master Replicas run. So I guess you can call this a little bit of a historic video as far as that. Not very historic. I'm not obviously a master on all things Master Replica. This is the only thing that I ever have from them. So here is what some call, some makers, I don't know who, the Tusken Slayer is the model for the Anakin lightsaber. Very reminiscent of the Graflex. A few things to point out here. The T-grips, which are the same idea. Maybe a little bit more spaced out, maybe more of them, thinner. This uses the CoverTech wheel that was very common during the Old Republic lightsabers. The control box and sleeve using the bubble strip, which was in the A New Hope Graflex. The original Graflex used a bubble strip. And then some of these ideas here, some of these control knobs and doohickeys, some might say. Whatsits and doohickeys, things like that. This here is the actual control switch. There's no batteries in it. I can put some in a little bit. That's the control switch. It's right in here. So this one doesn't have the bunny ears effect, but it does have a few extra things in here. A couple little indication lights which don't glow. They're just little plastic pieces put in there. But I think in the Tusken Slayer that does have some glowing in there. So there are some comparisons to Darth Vader's saber later on, especially the first one, being that the T-grips are about of the same length. I think the T-grips on Vader's is a little bit thicker, and I don't think it uses CoverTech though. I think it actually attaches upright to his belt, if I'm not mistaken. But there are darker accents in here, the dark grip right here, and of course the T-grips and some of these darker details in here. But also flashy chrome, which kind of fits Anakin's flashy style. Flashy and maybe arrogant style, chrome polished. But it definitely has the same shape of Vader's later lightsaber. Some of these built out portions of the right leading up to the emitter shroud, and of course the pure angled, just the straight diagonal cut of this emitter shroud rather than the S-shaped curve of the Graflex. So it's neat in this case to see sort of a more primordial version of the Graflex, sort of a predecessor from a different era. So that's pretty neat to see. Now, this blade is permanently attached. This cannot be removed. Some Master Replicas, I think, the blade can be removed. Oh, you can even see it in here. I don't know if you'll be able to see in here, but it says like copyright 2002 Master Replica right in here in this section. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but 2002 Master Replicas LLC, Lucasfilm Limited, made in China. So the blade is not removable. And actually, this is the funny story that I was mentioning at first. The funny story is, if you haven't watched my other video where I feature this lightsaber, I actually broke this within like a week of actually having gotten it. So it arrived at my house and I had it and I was playing with it, and this was the neatest thing ever. This is as close as you could get to a realistic looking lightsaber that sounded good and looked good. Before then it was the Kenner or Hasbro toys of just little extended plastic bits and flashlight and sound and stuff like that. But so this is the best that there was. And I believe retail was $99, if I'm not mistaken, at the time, 2002. And so, but yeah, I kind of broke it. I was outside. I would take it outside at night and play with it swing it around and stuff like that. But I swung it too hard, and the blade actually went like that a little bit. I mean, not quite that much, but enough to kind of tug and pull on some of the circuits, and then it shorted out and it didn't work anymore. And so I thought to myself, oh no. My parents just bought me this $99 lightsaber that I'm supposed to be really gentle with, and I broke it within a week of having it. Or maybe it was 2 weeks, I don't know. However long it was, but so I broke it pretty soon within getting it. So what I did was I just put it right back in its box, and I kept it under my bed, and I kind of kept the secret with me until my dad found it after I had moved out. He found it under my bed, and he tried it out. I was like, huh, that's strange. I wonder why it doesn't work. And so he actually opened it up, and he repaired the circuitry. So it works now, but I think while I was waiting for my Vader's Vault Hero to come, I kind of maybe did a little bit of the same thing again, so the circuitry might be a little touchy. So, like I said, this thing is fragile. This thing is fragile. I mean, it's made of metal and plastic parts, but it is still fragile. So what I will do, well, let's do this. I tell you what, let me go ahead and get some batteries installed in here so we can see it in action, and then we will compare it to my Ultrasabers Graflex so we can see the similarities. So the bubble strip turns to the side here and requires a Phillips head screwdriver. It also has one of those triangle shaped screws in there, like the triangle head screws, like the kind that you find like in McDonald's Happy Meals, the kind that like nobody has. Well, I don't know if nobody has, but the kind that most people don't. Okay, it's not enough yet. This is almost like a retention screw, so once it's out far enough, you'll be able to get it. Okay, there we go. There's a little hole that it screws into right there, the retention screw area. And then here's the chassis for the batteries. This takes 6 AA batteries, which I have here. This is the only one that's different, but it should still be in a... Oh, wait. Okay. Make sure I'm putting them in the right direction, right? Oh, here we go. Still a little touchy. I hope this works, otherwise this will be a little embarrassing to have gone through all this and not have it work. Alright, I'm not going to worry about screwing it back in. I'm just going to, well, I guess I kind of have to a little bit. Or I'll just take this screw out and then I'll put it back in later. Just so I can kind of move along with this here. Okay. Okay. So it still works, but it is very, very dull compared to a normal saber. It's glowing, but that's all it's doing. It looks similar to, you know, those glow sticks that you crack? And that's all the sound that you get is that one swishing sound. And you only get those 3 clashing sounds. Not very loud. Not very loud, but still remarkable for its time. Okay, so we'll lay that there. Now, at this time, set this carefully here. At this time, let us compare this to the Ultrasabers Graflex. For the idea of comparing 2 generations of the Skywalker Saber. Now, I don't know if this lightsaber is actually to scale. It might be a little bigger, possibly. So we'll just kind of disregard that for the moment. All right, now One thing that's interesting on the first place, let me switch to this side here. You'll notice a few geometrical differences, or at least one geometrical primarily, is the control box placement. In Anakin's first Saber, the control box is opposite of these control knobs. But in the traditional Graflex, the control box is aside at a 90-degree angle to the bunny ear and control knob section. That's one piece of difference. Another thing, let's just do some of the comparisons. We'll start from the bottom here, making sure that everything's visible. Okay. You'll notice that the T-grips are considerably larger here than they are on Anakin's Saber. Anakin's is much more sleek, slender. It's about the same diameter as far as the width of the Saber here. That's about the same. But having these thinner pieces give it a sleeker appearance, even despite this control box sticking out quite a bit. Obviously, there's a few more darker details in here, such as this sleeve and some of these pieces here, than the traditional Graflex would have. And then looking off here, of course, we've got bunny ears here that the original does not have, but it instead has these control details. And of course, understand that the Ultrasabers is not a perfect replica of a Graflex. As I said in my unboxing video for the Graflex, I chose the Ultrasabers version because it is it's sort of a reference among all of the different types of Graflexes available between the different generations of it, and so I felt that having that would be a nice sort of representative version rather than having a New Hope version or Empire Strikes Back version or Revenge of the Sith version, whatever. So let's see here. Of course, we've got these colored diodes that don't light up, but sort of in this sort of groove here, this stripe groove. But we do have brass pins details here. This button / glass eye, depending on what version you have, detail that comes here. The emitter is different. The Attack of the Clones, the original, if you will, chronologically original, has a slanted diagonal shroud emitter, whereas the Graflex has this S-shaped emitter with this extra holding piece in here. In some versions, there's a black piece in here, which I think comes from Revenge of the Sith, this skinny flex, if you will. But in others, like The Force Awakens and the sequel trilogy and such, this is more open inside, so you can actually see the blade underneath there, which is kind of a neat effect. One other little small detail is the placement of the CoverTech wheels. In this one, the CoverTech wheel is in this place here at the same location as all these devices here, which would lead, if it were hanging on a Jedi's belt, it would leave it hanging off like this, which is a nice angle because then you get to see all of these parts and stuff like here, and the control box is off on the side so it wouldn't trigger a lightsaber. So that's a nice angle to have that. And then of course the difference there is that the Graflex here has the CoverTech off to the side, so that way when you wear this one on your belt, you're actually looking at it from this angle if you're doing it on this side, because generally you right-handed duelists would have their sword on the left so they could draw it out this way in attack. So those are some general considerations. Oh, here's one more little thing to notice here. This, as I mentioned before, this body is chrome plated, or just sort of a rather than the brushed silver aluminum finish, or aluminium finish, as Sidious Sabers would say, because, you know, English. This being the shiny reflective chrome plating rather than the more brushed finish version. Like that. And you may notice the two tones of this here. This is a little bit darker than this piece here. That's because this is the Graflex CE. The collector's edition uses a little bit slightly darker finish on here, and I thought that that would look nice rather than the standard edition, the SE, which is all the same color. So, I think that's pretty much about what we can say about this. Now, visually. Now let's go ahead and take a listen to them together. So here is the Anakin Saber again. Oh wait, hang on, I gotta do something. Yeah, that's right. I've been using this in quiet mode so that way I could okay, we'll do this one.
Confirm.
Okay. So here we go. Notice the very obvious difference here. You can easily see the difference in brightness. This one hardly looks bright at all compared to this one. And of course, as you notice, this has no flash on clash because that's not how this weapon was designed. The way that this is designed is that there are no LEDs in here. It uses a paper, a rolled up paper inside here. You can see the crease along here or so. Well, not crease, but you can see where it's like rolled up like that, almost like gift wrap. It's just rolled up around a tube. And on the paper is a sort of special ink that will react. Well, that will react when a charge is placed to it, and so it glows up. So photoreactive film is what happens on here. So it's not LED powered as later sabers would be, that have like the row of LEDs that would come out like that, and then like that. And I don't even know if those have flash on clash, like the later master replicas that use LEDs like that. But of course that's different from a conventional, nowadays, lightsaber that uses LEDs that are housed in here, very bright, strong ones that shine out, and there can be multiple LEDs, so that way you have a primary color and a secondary color. You notice that when I was changing sound. In this one, when you choose a sound, it'll go to its secondary color to flash to show a confirmation, and then it goes to its normal color that is been chosen for that. So anyway, that is my two Graflex inspired lightsabers. Two Graflex inspired lightsabers from Attack of the Clones and representative of A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, Revenge of the Sith, and the sequel trilogy. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.